What's up, guys? Ricky Analog, True Trader, ready to do another Sunday prep. Hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. September 19th. God, can you believe we are getting so close to the end of the third quarter? October's right around the corner. Everybody loves to finish out that fourth quarter strong. Who doesn't, obviously? I hope you guys have been having a really strong year. If you're not, I hope you're tracking your results and you're reflecting on your trading and you're creating plans to improve. And I want to make sure everyone understands, like, you don't got to wait for 2022 and New Year's resolutions to be making plans on how you can improve and implementing them, right? It's a continual process, this evolution as a trader. You should be constantly reviewing every day, and then at the end of every week, and at the end of every month, and it needs to be a continual refinement of your process. You need to be cutting out the bad things and doing more of the stuff that works, and always trying to just get a little bit better every single day. When you wake up in the morning, and you roll out of bed, you go look at the face in that mirror, you need to ask yourself, how can I be even 1% better than I was yesterday? Probably not just good advice for trading, it's probably good advice just for life in general, right? If you guys aren't already subscribed, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on the notifications, because you definitely don't want to miss some of the free content we're putting out. I say that because Goose does the midweek watch every week, and every week I go, there's no way his midweek watch could get any better or produce any better ideas, and somehow he just outdoes himself. And I would be lying if I told you that in the back of my head I don't have like this little competitive part of me that's like, oh, he set the bar up here, and now I got to try to deliver, because I do. And so, like, me and him having this friendly little thing where we push each other hopefully benefits you guys by in turn giving you better preps and better plans and better content every single week. And so hopefully we're growing this, and hopefully we're getting this dialed into the way you guys like it. One way to let us know is to comment, right? So obviously we love thumbs up. I don't hate thumbs downs, but I really, really prefer comments. So please comment on the videos and let us know what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of. And make sure you share the video. If you guys found this on Twitter, retweet it. If you guys find this on like a link on Instagram, share it to your Instagram following. Like, we would love more people to be able to have access to this content. If you guys missed last week's Thursday episode of Method and Mindset with me and Kim Ann Curtin, the Wall Street coach, go check it out. It's on TrueTrader.net's Instagram channel. Last week we had on Cody. It was an amazing episode. Cody now has 3 months free at True Trader, where we're going to try to help groom him as a trader and work with him to help get him to a better place. And I think that's the goal with everyone in our community. And I think Cody's going to be really happy at his new home. Make sure you guys are following the True Trader Instagram channel as well, so you guys see when we go live. It's every other Thursday at 5 p.m. market time is a new episode of Method and Mindset. Not only that, but we made a website for it, methodandmindset.com. 7 hours, actually more than 7 hours, over 7 hours of free content from both Kim Ann Curtin, so she covers some stuff that you guys can do to help with the mental side of stuff, and I've got webinars in there that I've created for the technical side of trading. So make sure you check us out at methodandmindset.com, and then obviously don't miss the Method and Mindset episodes every other Thursday. That's it for the little notes I needed to take care of. Now it's time for some housekeeping, obviously the disclaimer. So let me do that real quick. All right, guys. Neither I nor True Trader or any of their affiliates are registered broker dealers. I'm not a licensed financial advisor. Nothing I talk about is a solicitation to buy or sell a stock. Make sure you understand that trading is inherently risky, and you got to understand those risks. You also need to understand that everything I talk about, guys, is for entertainment purposes only. All right, let's do this. All right, jumping right into our broader market analysis. Obviously, I always start with the S&P. I prefer to use the ES. You guys can use the SPY if you want to follow along at home that way. So basically, we had some pretty heavy tape last week. Had a big pullback. If you remember last Sunday prep, what did we say? We said, look for pops back into the underside of the 20-day to be areas to fade against. And they were. I mean, every single pop back into the underside of the 20 sold off. And not only that, but we did kind of break this longer trend line that we've been holding for, since late last year. I honestly don't think it's time to ring the alarm bells yet. We're not there. There are some cracks starting to show, but in any kind of big move up like we've seen on the S&P and the broader markets, it's kind of like, duh, what did you think? It's not gonna be all roses and unicorn shit the whole way up. There's gonna be some stuff like this, some big pullbacks, shake some people out, make some people worry. It is what it is. But let's just look at things objectively, all right? So we still have this 4364 base that was built from late July, early August. If that were to fail, you still also have August's lows. Now remember, let's turn the pivots off so we can start seeing some of these higher time frames a little bit better. You also have the weekly 20 SMA, but I think in order to get to the weekly 20 SMA, look what we need to do, right? We have to break August lows, and that's something I've been pointing out. That would be a red flag. We have not had a month that broke the low of the previous month in over a year. So that would be one red flag, right? It's obviously one red flag doesn't equal everybody panic sell everything. It just means take note and get prepared in case more red flags show up. So what else would I would look for? Weekly chart. I want to see to me, the pullback doesn't matter. This pullback doesn't matter at all. What matters is what happens next. I want to see, do pushes back up when we start to find a base and push back up. Do we put in a lower high, or do we go back to all-time highs, and does the trend continue? If the trend continues, we go right back into the exact same way we've been doing things, buying dips and shorting extensions, right? If we put in a lower high and then we roll back over and we take out the lows that we're putting in now, that is another red flag. So these are the kinds of things I'm constantly looking for. And you have to understand, I manage a SEP account. I manage my kids' college accounts. I do have longer term accounts. So it's extremely important for those accounts that I know what to look for. But it's also important if you're just a day trader to be able to read these things as well. Think about it. If all of a sudden red flags start showing up and we do go into a correction, do you want to be the guy that's buying the flushes, trying to catch a falling knife when there's no bottom in some names? Or do you want to know that that's the market we're in and know that, look, it's probably easier to short pops. Let's stay on the path of least resistance. For me, that's the way I want to make sure that I have myself set up every single morning when I come to the market. I want to know what is going to be the path of least resistance, or at least the highest probability. And the other note is that if you look at the monthly chart, right, we've never ever sped up like we have in the last few years. If you scroll back, right, and zoom out, we've never had a time where the price extended the way it is now. So one of two things is going to happen sooner or later. We're either going to go sideways for quite some time and chop around and digest this big move up, or we're going to have to pull back and reset and correct. And that's fine. It's just part of the way stocks move. But you know, when you start looking at these higher time frames, you realize that a correction on a monthly chart could come in quite a bit. So it's extremely important to understand like where we're at on all these different time frames, where things could come back to, and the things to look for that would be considered red flags. As far as the levels for this week, obviously I told you the support levels, right? The 43.64, and just below that was August's lows. And possibly even the quarterly, monthly right there at that round psychological level, 4,400. But again, I'm still going to also treat the underside of the 20-day as a spot for resistance. I really want to see a test of that 45.12 quarterly pivot, because that was kind of the breakdown area. And it's no different than like when we break out in an uptrend, I like to see those breakout levels retested. Same way when we break down, I want to see a pop back into that level. I want to see how things behave, because I think a hard pop back into that quarterly pivot is probably going to be a good short opportunity. And it's also the level that if we get into that area, that's what I want to see. Do we roll back over and put in a lower high, or do we continue back to highs and the uptrend bull market continues? That's what I watch for. So that's the ES, guys. Let's move on. So the next thing I check out is the NASDAQ, the NQ. Again, if you guys prefer, you can use the QQQ. The notes I wrote down on this one is that, honestly, this chart's a lot less concerning to me than the SPY. Again, I want to make sure you understand I'm not panicking yet at all, even with the SPY. But this one's way less concerning because we still have a lot of levels to test that haven't even been tested yet, such as the 50-day, which is the, we'll just call it the quarterly pivot / 50-day, which is going to be a retest of this base area that we broke out above. So if we were to flush down to those levels, that is the first area where I would look for buyers, some serious buyers to show up. And I would see, do we catch support there? And if so, what names are strong tech names that are pulled back to support that also look like they're going to have good long setups? Pops back into the underside of the 20-day, and as well as this this pink line I've drawn, let's just call it 15.5. That's the levels I'm looking for as possible resistance. And obviously all-time highs, you have that quarterly pivot up there. Let's turn the pivots off, and again, just quickly look at the weekly chart. And no different than what I said about the S&P, guys. It's not about the pullback, it's about what happens after. We pulled back. Now when we push up, do we go back to highs, or do we make a lower high and then roll over? Remember, guys, the weekly 20 SMA on this one is quite a bit lower. So there is, if we get that lower high, then the lower low, again, you'll see a Sunday prep with me pointing that out and telling you guys, okay, well, we got room back to the weekly 20. And obviously the monthly 20 is even way further away. Again, don't panic. That's not the point of this. The point of this is to stay objective. Know what to look for and know how you'll act in either situation. Bull run continues, bull run ends. You have to have plans for both. That's all preparation is. Contingency plans. If this, then that. Hammer that into your head. All right, that's NQ, guys. Next thing I take a look at is Bitcoin. And let's get back to our daily time frame on this one. Guys, pointed out last week, a break above that 47.4 level for me would confirm the higher low. We got that. And, I think now one of two things happens. We retest 53,000, which was those recent highs that we pulled back from, or we have the long trigger, and if that fails, if we fail to reach the target and then roll over and break these lows from September 7th, look out below. Failed long triggers create powerful short triggers. Always remember that, guys. So anything in between there is just chop, and I don't care about it. Above these levels, I think we're bullish, and I think we continue higher. If we get back above 53K, the next level for me is 57K. Nothing's changed with those levels. So that's Bitcoin, guys. Well, cryptos in general. I use Bitcoin. Remember, guys, I use Bitcoin as my crypto index just because it's the main cryptocurrency that usually has a lot of correlation with how the smaller names move. All right, so now that we've done the broader market, the next thing obviously is my sector analysis. Head on over to the barchart.com site, go into stock market sectors, and I sort that by a short-term matrix. And in the notes I put, one thing to note was that materials and utilities got absolutely hammered last week. And the other thing to note was that consumer discretionary was strong, but the surprising one was energy. And remember, guys, I like to take a look at the ETFs with these. And where's my ETFs? There they are. So the one thing I want to point out is energy. Like, energy's been the weakest sector for quite a while. I have to admit that the chart is really starting to shape up and look like maybe we found a bottom, at least a near-term bottom in that sector, and maybe some of these energy names are going to start seeing some cash rotate into the sector. I would like to see this ETF break above this 50.6 level, and then I feel like it has some room up. It's a big change from when we were flashing down, pop up, flash down, lower lows, losing the 200-day. We reclaimed the 200-day and it tried to fall back below it again, and it reclaimed again and pushed right back up. So I am watching energy sector to see if it stays strong or does it, lose that strength and roll back over. But it's going to be interesting if it stays strong because there's so many names that are probably pretty primed. And then you can look at utilities and you can see it got hammered. You can look at the materials and see it got hammered. The note on both of those is that they may be a little overdone, so I wouldn't be short biased this coming week for materials and utilities. But if they pop back into resistance, then you may have some fade plays on those. And the other one was XLY. I wanted to point out this is consumer discretionary. Looks strong. I like the look of this ETF. I think everything looks intact here. You know, constant higher lows, higher highs, making a bit of a base here and may get a push. The other thing to note is if you guys don't know the stocks, the individual stocks that make up a sector, barchart.com, you just come here and you click on that sector, like let's do consumer discretionary. And not only do you get a list of all the tickers that make it up, you can sort them, right? Like let's look and see which ones have been strong performers. You can look at the 1 month change, the year change. This is weighted alpha. This is powerful stuff because if you identify a sector that you feel is a strong sector, you want to play the names in that sector that are strong. So make sure you guys understand how to use your tools and how to use them to help create a game plan. So that's it for the sector analysis. All right, so let's get right into the actual ideas for the week to come. We start with our long setups. And when it comes to long setups, there's two types I'm looking for. And when it comes to short setups, there's two different types I'm looking for. So the first type of long setup we're looking for is strong stocks looking for continuation. So let me pull up that watch list. Oh, wrong one, sorry guys. Bear with me. And the first name on the list is Palantir, PLTR. I mean, this chart is beautiful. This is a gorgeous chart. This base has been built for quite a while. And you'll always hear me say this, guys, the longer a base builds, the more I'm interested in when it finally breaks from that consolidation. And, you know, Thursday we triggered it. Friday we had a little bit of follow through, but both days, Thursday and Friday, happen on very, very substantial volume. And that makes me really like it. Obviously, we didn't get a ton of follow through on Friday, but the market was heavy. So I feel if this thing were to retrace, it's going to be a great opportunity for some scoops. 28 is going to put us right into Friday's low a day. I will probably try some off 28, and even if we lose Friday's low a day, I don't think that's going to stop me out because I really think this may need to retest that 2750 area, which was, you can see the breakout area, right? It's just this long, the upper resistance of that base that it built. So I think, just like we said earlier, right, things need to retest levels and prove that they're going to hold. So it may need to retest that. So I'll probably look to start in at 28, add 2750s, and then see if we start to put in some constructive price action. What's that mean? Higher lows. I want to see buyers come in and hold levels. You know, I don't have a problem cutting it if it doesn't hold and then looking to re-enter somewhere closer to the 20-day. But I think this name's ready to go. That chart is just such a beautiful chart. Even the weekly, I'll throw the weekly up there just to show you guys. But this is just gorgeous price action. And then for the break. Now, do we get market cooperation? That's kind of going to be the big thing, right? So, like I said, the market may, at a very least, have a relief bounce this coming week. And some of these names may end up getting that pop. I like PLTR, and the thing about it is when I put this trade on, I'll most likely be building into a position where the plan is some of it's going to be a swing. Definitely going to have a day trade involved in it. And in fact, that reminds me, I did put in the notes, you know, it's only got a $1.06 ATR. Usually I don't put stocks on my watch list that only have a 1-point ATR, but because this may end up being a swing, I don't think the ATR is going to matter. Because I think, you know, if you can have this on for a week to 2 to 3 weeks and it keeps working, you're going to have a whole lot of $1 ATRs built up. So that's the idea on PLTR, guys. The next idea on the list is Snapchat. And throw the pivots back on for you guys. All right, so the notes basically just pointing out that it's building this really nice flag that's right above the highs from the breakout of the last flag that it made, right? Which was an earnings breakout. And I like to see stocks that break out strong on earnings like this and then consolidate. I really think this thing's gearing up for a pretty big push. You can see it had a strong day Friday. The plan for me, I think, like, okay, so 72 I wrote down is like the no-brainer level. If it were to flush hard there, throw it on at 72 and you have Thursday's lows to risk against. But I know myself, and I know that I want to get involved in this if it's going to work. And I'm probably going to be in there as early as 73.50s if I see the buyers show up and I see some higher lows and something to risk against, because I don't want to miss this trade if it's going to break above this upper trend line from this flag that it's building. The other idea is we don't know what's going to happen Monday, right? If we gap up and we're above this trend line, I'm going to be looking to buy a flush into that 75/74 area, and hopefully catch a nice bounce play / continuation. Or if we don't get the retrace and we do break above there, the other option is looking for dips to buy, joining trend with defined risk. So that is the Snapchat idea, guys, SNAP. The next idea is CVS. And let me turn off the pivots, and I like to start with the weekly on this one, guys. This is what I'm seeing when I look at the weekly. I like this longer term chart. You just see this big old rounded bottom. We broke above this very long term resistance line up here. And so far just kind of pull back into the weekly 20, and since we've done that, have been putting in higher lows. So I feel like bigger picture, longer term, this is getting ready for a move. And so when we break it down and get into the granular of it, I want to be there for at least some day trades on it, and possibly having something on for if it starts to get some momentum to the upside, having a possible swing on it. Basically, what I'm looking for on this is going to be a dip back down into 84. I feel like an opening flush into that level is a good area to scoop. Or the break over Thursday's highs, I feels kind of a trigger for me that would get me looking to buy dips when I see higher lows set in, and just try to join trend on this name. So I do like the look of this CVS. Yep, that's that plan. So that's it for the strong stocks looking for continuation. The other long setup I look for is things that are oversold, and I'm looking for a reversion on them. The only name I have on the list this week is this QCOM. And let's start with the weekly again and just point something out about it. Is this swing idea was from back in, I think it was early July when this triggered. And this is really the first time that it's given a dip back towards areas of interest for entries for a swing on the name. So like, just because something triggers and it's valid doesn't mean I want to be entering the trade yet, because sometimes the risk reward's really not skewed in my favor. Now that we're getting this pullback, the risk is going to be under this 120. Let's see what these lows were. Let's just call it 123-ish. I want to be a little more, 123. So under 123 is what we're risking against. So we want pullbacks anywhere into this 130 to 125 area, so that our risk is minimized and our upside is maximized. But again, that's the swing idea. The long idea I'm putting out this week is just based on the fact that we've had this big sell-off, right? And what I'm looking for is more of this to be a panic flush where I'm looking to scoop. So the first area I'm looking to jump in on this is 130, which is the psychological level, and it's also going to be, about 8 points from where we're currently trading. So it would have to really kind of speed up. Oh, I'm sorry, not 8 points, 3 points, which is also the ATR. So that's what makes me initially like that level. But if 130s aren't going to hold, I'm not riding this down to 126 with that position on. I would be looking to. Oh, why did I turn off auto? I would without hesitation stop out of that and look to re-enter around 126, which is going to put us closer to the bottom of this trend line here. And if I get 126s, that's definitely going to be partial for a swing with risk under 123. So that's the plan on QCOM. It's not there yet. A lot of times you'll see this in the Sunday preps, the oversold or the overbought reversion setups. They're not there yet, but I got to keep them on watch in case they get a little more extreme. So QCOM, I'm looking for a flush lower. If I get it, great. If not, it's okay. It may reverse from here. Again, if you were looking for the swing trade, it's lower than levels where I was ready to start the swing. Now that we're kind of flushing in, I do want to get a position put on for the swing trade with as little risk as possible. And now that doesn't mean that I'm going to lose less money if I'm wrong. It means I'm going to make more money if I'm right, because I'm still going to use the same amount of size that will give me my set preferred risk. And if you guys don't understand risk management in terms of like position sizing and knowing where you're wrong, what better reason to join TrueTrader, right? Head over to TrueTrader, and we definitely have a lot of risk management webinars and work that I've put out there to try to keep traders safe. So Yeah, little shameless pitch there, but that's the idea on QCOM. All right, guys, so now we get right into our short setups. And like I said, there's two types, right? And the first one is weak stocks looking for continuation. And let's see here. Oh, I guess that needs to be dragged down. Zillow is my first idea. And basically, it's pretty simple, guys. Drag it up there a little bit. I'm looking for a pop, a hard pop into the underside of the 50-day / quarterly to fade this name. You know, 3-point ATR, we're trading at 96. That's going to put us right into those areas. I just feel like any emotional pop up into those levels is kind of like a no-brainer area to fade. It was a pretty key level. We broke down. We retested it once. It failed. There's no reason to think that we're going to go straight from 89 straight up to 100 without a breather. So if we slam into that level, that's where I want to fade this name. That's Zillow. Or for my Canadians out there, Z. The next idea on this section is EA, Electronic Arts. And you can see this thing has gotten crushed. It very well could fit in the oversold reversion setups. You know, if it slams down to 130s, I'm probably interested in it for that idea. But as far as what I'm seeing in the name, you know, when we broke this low here, that to me signals a bit of distress in the name. And what I'm looking for is a pop back into the underside of the 200-day as the first area where I'd look to fade it. I put in the notes, I fully don't expect this to be a Monday or Tuesday trade. I mean, maybe Tuesday at the earliest, but I think this is more like a Wednesday, Thursday type thing because it's going to take some move up first, and it's not going to just get there in one day. So, you know, come Wednesday, if we're pushing back up into the underside of the 200, if that level doesn't work, I have the same plan, same idea for the underside of the 20-day, which is, so the 200-day is right at the 50% retrace, like fib level, correct? The 20-day is going to be right around the 61.8% retrace, and there's you have a monthly and a quarterly pivot up there as well. So that area, that 142.50-ish area, is going to be extremely strong resistance in my opinion. So I'll try it at the 200-day. If it doesn't work, stop out, no problem, take my paper cut and try it again at the 20-day. Again, this is not going to be something that comes about Monday, probably not Tuesday, but Wednesday, Thursday, I do want to be having this name on my radar. So that was EA. And the last idea on this section is GE. And basically GE, very similar to the Z idea, is just a big pop into the underside of the 20-day / 50-day, I think is a fade. Or if we lose last week's lows, which is going to coincide with that psychological 100 level, then I'm going to look to short pops and join trend, right? So if I see lower highs set in, I'm going to put something on, probably risking over under on 100. And, I feel like if we lose last week's lows, this thing can at least come down to 98, maybe 96. It's got a 2.5 point ATR on the name. So it trades great volume too. So GE's on the list for that reason. That's it for the short ideas for weak stocks looking for continuation. And the last section is just like the oversold reversion setups, but on the short side, it's overbought reversion setups. So stocks that have gotten a bit extended, and I think they're due a pullback. Obviously, there's a debate about how A+ some of these are versus others. We don't get the mRNA type ideas every week, but I do believe that these two names here are going to be okay for us. ASAN is the first one. I actually was in this on Friday. I had pretty nice gains. I was short from mid 118s, came down to like sub 115, but that's not my plan on this name. I'm looking for the bigger picture on it. I think it has a lot more room to come in. Yes, it's a strong stock. Yes, it's got a lot of good fundamental reasons to be going up behind it, but things can't just go straight up. I do think this is going to have a nice retrace in it, and I want to be there for when it does. So I don't mind putting on a bigger picture trade and not taking the small gains when given it, because I think that the bigger picture is there. You need to make sure that you know what type of trade you're in before you get in it, right? So there's a lot of times I see people, they put on a trade they don't have the bigger picture in mind, but as soon as they see those small gains, they don't take them because all of a sudden they think they want the bigger picture, right? They get greedy. this is exactly the opposite, right? If you have a bigger picture trade and you see those small gains and all of a sudden you take them and then it goes, another 5 to 10 points without you, that's not acceptable either. You guys have to understand your plan needs to be set from the beginning. Maybe you want to take some small gains and leave something on for the big picture. That's fine too. Have that in your plan. The problem comes or stems from people changing their plan on the fly, usually based on emotions, right? Greed or fear. So I'm looking for this name to start having some lower highs to risk against, and I'm putting this on and thinking we have some downside on the name. That's the idea on ASAN. It could quickly go higher, and then the plan just goes back into stalking mode. But the higher we go, the better on this name. And the last name on the list for this Sunday prep is DOCM, which actually I believe was on last week's or the week before that for a long. And, it's gone quite a bit higher. I think that Friday's action is kind of indicative of maybe this thing is about to roll over. So I have two ways of playing this. It's either we lose Friday's lows and then I look to short pops and join trend, or I also have it marked down is that I would like to short a spike back into the 85s. 85 was kind of a key level from Friday, and you can see, let's just make this full size so you can see it. So we came in, and when we pushed back up into 85, that was where it rejected and rolled back over. It was also the breakdown level from earlier in the morning. So that's why I have 85s written down. As a spike into that level, I would look to fade DOCN. That's it, guys. That's the Sunday prep. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you took away some value from this. Again, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs down. Give me some damn comments. See you guys at the market Monday. Ready to crush it. Peace.